Hey everybody, so Robin is here. She is like one of my original BFFs from back in the 80s, and she is here with me. And so we just went live on her page. She shared like mid-workout-ish that she shared after we were done that she was pretty much terrified about working out with me, which I hear this all the time. People are always like, you scare the crap out of me, you intimidate me. There's like men.
You're so fit and I'm not.
Yeah, men say this shit and I'm like, why? Like I'm friendly. Like this is a friendly face. At least I think it's friendly.
She's one of my best friends and I was scared of her, but it's ridiculous.
So what I was thinking is like, I always tell people, I'm like, anyone can go hard for like 30 seconds or a minute and then post it. You know, what people don't realize is that I'm a real person. I have been on my fitness journey for over 4.5 years, and I have been dedicated like going 100 since last September whenever I'd fallen completely off track. So I've just finished program after program after program and not letting myself get off the fitness track. But I still have my weaknesses. I still get out of breath. I still follow the modifier. And earlier, before we got our workout done, I was telling Robin something, and then she was like, dude, you need to tell people this because I don't think I've ever heard you say it, and people need to know this. So I did Country Heat, and I did it in the month of August, right? Yeah, August. And so I didn't really want to do that workout, which I've shared like a million times because I couldn't dance, I didn't like country music, blah, 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 blah. But the great thing is, Country Heat is my favorite program for one reason, is it taught me something that I thought literally was impossible. It taught me how to dance, and I gained rhythm and coordination, and that to me has been something that I've been really had low self-confidence, like none at all. And so it taught me something that couldn't be achieved by diet or anything. It's not weight loss, so that was cool. But with Country Heat, it was the only program I have been able to finish all 30 days, number one, without any missed days, but I could finish every workout without pushing pause.
Same.
So I'm like, I burned, mega calories. I lost 9 pounds. I, ended up gaining a lot of confidence. But that's something that maybe if you're watching me, you never knew that every program I have done, I've had to push pause. I've had to catch my breath. I can go really hard and then I feel like my throat's closing sometimes, but I keep going. So I wanted to make sure that you guys knew this so that, because so many people experience this, but they don't tell me, they don't tell their coach, they don't tell their accountability partner, and they just think they're the only one dealing with this, and then they're intimidated by the little 30-second to 60-second, clips that they see. So, at one point in time when we were doing our workout, we're on day 2 of Core to Force because I was one of the lucky people. Well, actually not lucky because I worked really hard to get to leadership. So I got the program. So I've had it. Ryan and Robin and I and my coach's husband, we all started yesterday. So we did day 2 today. It's 47 minutes. And I was like, oh my God, I was kind of dreading it because we've gotten used to 30-minute workouts. When I did 22-minute hardcore, it was 22-minute workouts. 22 and 30-minute workouts versus 47 was kind of like, ugh. So we got through it. And, we did say at the end of the workout, I'm like, or midway, I'm like, does it even seem like we've been going this long? I'm like, no, because we have somebody here. And, we had fun. We laughed at ourselves. We were off balance. We were crazy. I was following the modifier just as much as she was. And, it was funny because Ryan told us this morning that, some moves were tough, and I thought, oh, I'll be able to do that because I've been working out, and he'd kind of gotten off track, but I had just as much trouble. And so we're all at different fitness levels, we're at different shapes and sizes, and we all were able to get through it even though it was tough. My coach's husband, he hadn't worked out in a long time, he'd had major knee surgery. So the thing is, whether you think you can or can't, you're right. And so we're all different people with different setbacks, and we all did it.
I think it's good to remember too that this is not a competition. We're not competing with each other. We were here laughing and having fun. Like, I was intimidated to work out with her, but this was like the most empowering and motivating thing we've done because we were giggling the whole time. We were still working, but it's not a competition. You're not in competition with her, with me, with other coaches, with other challengers. You're only in competition with yourself. You're not in competition with the people in the video. They're fitness professionals, for God's sake. Like, don't do that to yourself. All you got to do is push a little harder for yourself and be proud of what you're doing, because it's really easy to feel intimidated and like you're not doing enough, but you are. You're freaking amazing.
And
Always.
we are big, I shared this on her page, I am really big on no negative self-talk. So, you know, it's so easy to have that voice in your head, and it was different because she was thinking things that she probably thinks all the time, but she said it out loud because I was here, and I was able to be like, no, let's change your way of thinking. Because at one point in time, she said, this is bonkers. I'm like, what's bonkers? She's like, these moves. And I was like, whoa, wait. I mean, I kind of said it like out of breath because we were working out, but I was like, no, a year ago you couldn't do this, or you would have said you couldn't do it, and you wouldn't have even touched it. And then 6 months ago, you would have barely been able to do it. So what's bonkers is that you've been able to do things that once you wouldn't have done and couldn't have done.
And also, thank you, Country Heat, because I did the same thing. That's the first program I haven't had to pause, and it helped us start build up this stamina that we wouldn't have had before, even though it's just a dancing workout.
Mm-hmm. So that's something that is really important, is no negative self-talk. I had my call with my life coach today, and we really talked about negative self-talk and really not labeling yourself a certain way. Like, because, you know, I told her, I'm like, oh, I had this major aha moment that, you know, what was holding me back was, you know, triggering my abandonment issues. And I was like, that's what I want to work on with from now on. I'm like, I knew this was a problem all along. I'm like, I told all these people that, you know, I was with in San Diego. I'm like, I told Robin today, and then she redirected my thinking. She was like, you have labeled yourself as being broken. You have labeled yourself as having abandonment issues, and you reference it all the time. Even if you've had a big aha moment and you're telling somebody, you're still reinforcing it. So she taught me a turnaround method. So she said, are you broken? I said, no. She's like, what is the opposite of it? And I'm like, you know, I'm strong, I'm a survivor, I'm a fighter, I'm relentless. And she's like, okay, so there's that. And then, you know, are you, what was it? Do you have abandonment issue, or, you know, do people always leave you? I'm like, no, people want me, and people need me. People, you know, come to me for advice. So these are the things that really we can tell ourselves these things. And I loved the way she really talked about it, because she said, say you were throwing a party and you're going to invite 30 people. And then you wrote on the envelope to who you're inviting, to depressed, to anxiety, to abandonment issues, to this or that. And then basically you are labeling these things as if they are part of you or a real person. And when you say that out, you're basically inviting those things into your world. And she wasn't downplaying anxiety or depression, but she was talking about that so many people label things that, you know, whenever that feeling, she said, how do you feel when you are having anxiety attacks? I'm like, you know, short of breath, can't breathe, my heart's racing, I feel flushed. And she was like, but when something exciting happens, don't you have the same feelings? I'm like, yeah. And she was like, you know, Tony really talks about that people label these feelings as a certain thing, as anxiety. And not that anxiety is not real, because trust me, I take 3 meds a day, 3 times a day, and it keeps my anxiety at bay. But every time you notice those feelings, you automatically slap that label on it, and you stay in that emotional state. And so I'm really trying to be mindful of these things. And, you know, I am a big advocate for mental health, and I am aware of mental illness, but I believe that there's some things that are part of us, but the more we talk about it, the more we focus on it, the more we label ourselves as these things, the more we're going to focus on it, and it's actually going to become a reality. I mean, people focus, if I focus on, you know, I've always been abandoned, I wasn't wanted from day one, or I can't work out, you know, these are the things that you're just going to convince yourself of. And so something that she did, and this is something that I've learned through listening to Tony Robbins, is that you can break these habits because your brain automatically has this fight or flight. It has this way of, if it's been linked to a painful experience, your brain is automatically going to push you away from that. If it's been a pleasurable experience, then you're going to be drawn towards it. So, you know, every time I catch myself in a negative, you know, self-talk mode or something, you know, she suggested, you know, putting a rubber band on my arm, which I do, because every girl with long hair, especially ones who work out, always carry hair ties. But she said every time you catch yourself, snap yourself on the wrist, because eventually when you do that over and over and over again, you associate with that, and there is a little bit of pain, not that it was like excruciating, but it wasn't fun. You will learn to go away from that, because our brain is seriously a huge muscle, and it is something that literally controls every part of what we do, how we think, who we, you know, how our relationships work with ourselves and others. And so I'm really trying hard to get away from that. I'm not good enough, I'm not ever going to be good enough, I'm not worthy, because I am, and I tell everybody else that they are. And so I just want to share that along the way. But anyways, I'm just a regular person, so I think that was all that we had to say.
You're amazing.
And yeah, and anyways, you can come work out with me anytime, people. I mean,
It's
people
awesome
fly
here.
in. Like, seriously, like, Lou came from or North Carolina to work out with me. She came from Utah. Literally, you can fly in and hang out with me and work out anytime.